Good morning, everybody. Thank y'all for being here. On behalf of Chief Doherty, the Baytown Police Department, and the City of Baytown, I'd like to welcome each of you here this morning, especially our distinguished guests for this special occasion. We'd also like to thank each of you for your commitment in the pursuit of truth and justice, which was never more evident than in this case. We'd like to especially thank all the agency heads from the various agencies for allowing your personnel to collaborate with us on this case, because without their help, solving this case would have been near impossible. You should all be very proud of your personnel as they represented your agencies extremely well. April 3rd, 2017 is a date none of us in this room will soon forget. It's the day we lost a brother, a colleague, a mentor, and a friend in Assistant Chief Deputy Clint Greenwood. As tragic as this case was, it also taught us some good things. It taught us that in times of crisis, we can accomplish what is thought to be impossible. In times of need, we are all here for each other, a true brotherhood. New friendships were forged that will last a lifetime, as we all now share a unique bond. And for these things, we should all be eternally grateful. On April 10th, I was contacted by Ms. Ferguson with U.S. Congressman Brian Babin's office. She wanted to express how moved Congressman Babin was by our commitment, our diligence, and professionalism as we conducted this investigation. She said Congressman Babin wanted to recognize everyone involved in the investigation by making a proclamation on the floor of the United States Congress, which would be forever preserved as an official record, official congressional record, and present that record to us in person. However, first he wanted to make sure that this was okay with all of those that were involved in the case. This told me a great deal about Congressman Babin. It told me he gets it. He understands how emotional this case was for all of us, and he understands our brotherhood. When I found out Congressman Babin was a military veteran, that explained it all to me. It told me he too knows what it means to be part of something greater than oneself, part of a brotherhood. Congressman Babin has served the citizens of our nation and this great state for over 40 years, serving in the United States Air Force, as mayor of Woodville, on the Woodville City Council, and he's also a dentist. So ladies and gentlemen, with that said, it is my distinct honor to introduce to you a fellow veteran, a man that understands what duty and service to others truly means. Please join me in welcoming United States Congressman Brian Babin.
I've never felt safer in my life. This is really an honor for me to come here. And this is true. Lieutenant, thank you for that introduction. I followed this case. I was very interested in it. And I don't know how many of y'all heard about this ridiculous thing up in Washington, where there was a painting hanging in the Capitol that had policemen portrayed as pigs. And this was kind of a big bone of contention. It was a political deal, unfortunately, but there was those of us that serve in Congress. There's 435 of us in the House and 100 of us in the U.S. Senate, and the U.S. Capitol Police take care of us. And every day they had to walk past this painting that portrayed police officers as pigs. And several of us, I'm an old guy, but I felt like that painting needed to come down. So I took it down. Being a friend of mine from California, Dana Rohrbacher, he's a California colleague, and we pulled it down off the wall, and we courteously took it back to the member of Congress who had hung it up there, who represented Ferguson, Missouri, by the way. And we asked him courteously not to put it back up. He did. He put it back up. And then so we went to the Speaker of the House, and we knew it was in violation of the rules of the House of Representatives. And so they ruled that it was out of order. The painting came down, and thank goodness it is not back up again. But we have seen an endangerment of police officers' lives over the last few years, like I have never seen in my life. And You know, I was raised in Beaumont, Texas. I was born in Port Arthur, and I've been living in Southeast Texas all my life, except when I served overseas in the Air Force. And my dad, one of the first things my dad taught me, Chief, you know, if you have a little altercation, a police officer wants to ask you some questions, you never, ever give him any lip. You never give him any problem. You obey everything he says, and you obey respectfully. And we have seen that type of philosophy become passé, if you would. That it is no longer the proper thing to do, that it's okay to resist arrest and to resist and be discourteous to police officers. I think that is absolutely wrong, and I think it has endangered the lives of many, many officers across this great nation of ours. And we've also seen a doubling of the number of police killings and ambush-style killings this past year. And I think you can lay that to the blame of some of this philosophy that we've been dealing with. But now I'm going to get on with my speech. Again, I want to thank you for having me here. My heartfelt thanks goes out to each one of you for your courageous, selfless service to your communities. And there's a lot of communities down there. I represent 9 different counties. 8 of those counties are rural. I live in Woodville up in Tyler County, Texas. But we have a lot of communities stacked one on the other down here in Harris County. And I want to thank each of you from these various communities for what you do. It's a noble, honorable service and a great career path. And I know it can be thankless and extremely dangerous, as we just mentioned. But please know that you are all in my heart and my mind, and most of the folks that I associate with, you are heroes, every one of you, each one of you men and women in here. In Texas, we're blessed with some of the finest law enforcement officers in the nation. And now more than ever, we have to show you our gratitude and appreciation. We owe you a tremendous debt of gratitude. Please know that I stand in strong solidarity with you, and always will, and with your families. And I offer each of you my unwavering commitment, attention, and support. And I personally could not be more thankful and proud of you and the service that you do to our community. And this is for police officers all across our land. I speak not only to you, but to everyone. I had the great honor and privilege of going to Baton Rouge shortly thereafter. After there was a terrible shooting, police shooting there. I was there for they had a flood shortly thereafter after the shooting, and I was over there observing some of the flood damage. But I had the privilege of meeting the sheriff, the police officers, and some of the Louisiana troopers as well. And you know what happened in Dallas. So this happens everywhere, and we have to make sure that we stop it. It's hard to express my outrage and contempt for those who have incited this war, and I call it a war, of hatred and violence towards our nation's law enforcement officers. Too many of your fellow officers have had their lives taken as a result of this evil. Police officers take an oath to protect and to serve, and it's time that they receive the same level of commitment and protection in return from the American public. As each of you put your lives on the line every day for our safety, we must do more to stop this hatred being directed at our law enforcement personnel. And tragically, such violence is once again, as Lieutenant Doris said, has hit the Houston region with a senseless murder of Harris County Precinct 3 Assistant Chief Deputy Constable Clint Greenwood. Chief Deputy Greenwood was a respected and committed 30-year law enforcement veteran of the Houston area, and I'm sure many of you knew him and worked with him for many of those years that he was giving service to this area. This marked yet another painful moment in our community after yet another intentional killing of a Texas law enforcement officer. So my prayers go up. I know that Ms. Greenwood is not here, but please, you folks that know her, convey to her my heartfelt sympathy, and I commiserate with her, and I have prayed for her and will continue to pray for her and her the rest of their family. through this very difficult time. And as I said, we're blessed with some of the best law enforcement officers in the country right here. This was on full display in the aftermath of Deputy Greenwood's murder. I would like to express my deepest appreciation and admiration to all of the Texas and federal law enforcement officers who worked so very diligently in getting to the bottom of this tragic and senseless murder. Worked right here in this building, right here in this room. And I want to tell you how great my admiration is for you. My hat goes off to the Baytown Police Department, the FBI, the U.S. Marshals Service, the Houston Police Department, the Gulf Coast Violent Offenders Task Force, the Texas Department of Public Safety, Texas Rangers, Harris County Sheriff's Department, and Harris County District Attorney. And have I missed anyone, Chief?
Yes.
Who?
Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco.
Bureau of Alcohol and Tobacco and Firearms. Okay. All right. I'm sorry about that. That wasn't on here, but you are to be commended as well. I know there was a heck of a lot of police gumshoe work that was going on. And my good friend Brandon Bess, who is not here today, I think he's off somewhere else at a seminar or something. He texted me, was not going to be able to be here, but he was keeping me a little bit apprised of what was going on. And I also am the subcommittee chairman of the Space Subcommittee in the House of Representatives. And he told me that there was a group that went over and talked with some of the scientists and technicians at Johnson Space Center, which helped crack this case. And I was very happy to hear that. But in your honor, all of you folks and all of those departments that I just mentioned, I have already submitted a statement in the Congressional Record, which will stand as long as the USA and this great republic of ours stands. It will be there in our archives and in the Congressional Record. I'm thanking each agency for their role in this investigation, because I'm telling you, I really was surprised this thing was cracked as fast as it was. I thought it would be a long time before we would get to the bottom of this thing. But while we continue to mourn the loss of another one of our brave Texas law enforcement officers, your hard work and tireless efforts have helped bring healing and closure to the Greenwood family and to the entire law enforcement community here. So I want to tell you also that I'm here to serve you. My office has an open door policy, and I want to know how we can help you in any way, whether it be through problems with the federal government, whether through the military, through anything that we can do, grants. I want to see our law enforcement officers and brave and courageous men and women have all the tools necessary that they need to do the important work that you do. And I feel the same way about the military as well. I actually served in the Army as an enlisted man before I was an Air Force officer. And, our military and our men in blue, police officers, put it on the line every single day and every single night. And I appreciate you more than you know. So, for everyone here, I want to thank for your commitment and your service. And I want to tell you how much we appreciate, from the bottom of my heart, all that you have done to protect our community, for solving this case, and for what you do and will do in the future. I want to ask God to bless you and protect our entire law enforcement community and comfort the families who have lost loved ones like the Greenwoods. And I want to thank you again for letting me come up here and present these certificates of appreciation to you. So God bless you. God bless America. Thank you.
All right. Chief Doherty?
You know what, Chief, if you don't mind, these all say the same thing. They're going into the record of the Congressional Record, so I'm going to read one of them, okay? Chief, Mr. Speaker, I rise, this is what's in the record. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to express my deep appreciation and admiration to all of the Texas law enforcement officers who worked so diligently in getting to the bottom of the tragic and senseless murder of Harris County Precinct 3 Constable, Assistant Chief Deputy Greenwood. My hat goes off to the Baytown Police Department, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, Federal Bureau of Investigation, the U.S. Marshals Service, Houston Police Department, Gulf Coast Violent Offenders Task Force, Texas Department of Public Safety, Texas Rangers, Harris County Sheriff's Department, and Harris County District Attorney's Office. These men and women showed tremendous determination and commitment in their efforts to find this evil perpetrator and deliver justice. And while we continue to mourn the loss of another one of our brave Texas law enforcement officers, their hard work and tireless efforts have helped bring healing and closure to the family and to the entire law enforcement community. My prayers continue to be with the family of Assistant Chief Deputy Greenwood. Thank you, and I want to present this to you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Great.
God bless you. Thanks for all the hard work, Chief.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just wanted to very briefly say thank you very much for the collaborative effort, the outpouring of assistance. It was greatly appreciated. It's not often that everyone from all the variety of agencies that were represented here can work so independently and together at the same time. And then last, I'd just like to thank Lieutenant Doris, who many of you may not have known with how professionally he handled the PIO position, but he was restructured to that position not shortly long before he was assigned to that. So he did a fantastic job with that. And I'd also like to thank Assistant Chief Mike Holden, who had also been restructured, not from the Patrol Bureau to the Investigative Bureau, and he did a fantastic job, I think, spearheading that. So I'd appreciate those staff members. You did a great job. Thank you.
Constable Eagleton?
And you have my greatest sympathies, Constable. Thank you so much. We're losing a good man, okay? This is for you. It's the same thing. Appreciate you. If you want to say a couple of words.
I'd like to also say thank you to all the federal, state, and local agencies that participated in this. You guys did an awesome job. The morning of April the 3rd, we were standing in the back of the courthouse when this incident had happened, and the sheriff and chief from Baytown Police Department was standing there, and they asked me that question, who would you like to work lead on this case? And with no doubt in my mind, I said, I would love for Baytown to run lead on this case. And I turned to the sheriff and said, would you guys assist him? I had no idea that we were going to get support from the state and federal level. All you guys came together, you did an awesome job, and thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart and the bottom of the heart from all the Precinct 3 men and women. Thank you so much.
ATF?
I didn't mean to leave you guys out a while ago. Okay?
We won't take it personal.
No, sir. I want to present this to you and thank you. My deepest appreciation.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir.
U.S. Marshal Service?
Marshal, thank you so very, very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Would you like to say a word or two?
Oh,
Okay.
thank you very much. I spent some countless hours around the clock in this room and got to know some very professional people. I wrote a very nice letter to the mayor of Baytown the other day about how professional the police department is here. And y'all really, there's a lot of emotions and a lot of egos when you have something like this happen. And Mike, y'all did a great job keeping everyone informed and making everyone feel like they were part of the team. And it was, like you said, some good old concrete pounding police work that brought this thing to closure. And I was very honored to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gulf Coast Violent Offenders Task Force?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. My deepest appreciation.
Thank you.
Okay. You'd like to say something?
Well, I'd just like to say thanks to, and I'm accepting this on behalf of all the Gulf Coast different agency members that were here that stepped up and put in the hours, and my partner there, Keith Wilkie, Sergeant with Harris County Sheriff's. You know, the Gulf Coast is a partnership, and it's been there 25 years now, and proud to represent it, and glad that this case came to closure, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
The Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Thank you so very much. We're very, very appreciative of you.
Thank you, sir.
And your department.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Would you like to say anything?
Yes, I want to say good morning and thank you for, I want to accept this award in honor of Special Agent Glenn Gregory, a member of our Violent Crime Squad in FBI Houston. Would also like to recognize Assistant Special Agent in Charge Doug Williams, who runs our criminal branch, and also law enforcement, federal, state, and local level here in Houston. We work very well together, and we simply can't do our jobs without that collaborative spirit and effort. So thanks to everybody.
Harris County District Attorney's Office.
Thank you so very much. We deeply appreciate it. Yes, sir. I'd like to say a word or two.
On behalf of Harris County District Attorney Kim Ogg, and on behalf of all our investigators, all our assistant district attorneys, the media, I want to extend my appreciation to each and every one of you, and to you, Congressman, for this recognition. It took a lot of hard work, a lot of collaborative effort, and the passion and compassion that was shown in this room when we worked for about a week to solve this heinous crime is really, really appreciated. Thank you so much, and God bless America.
Texas Department of Public Safety.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, sir. Very, very appreciative of you and your department. Okay.
I'll just say a couple of words. On behalf of the Texas Department of Public Safety, I'd like to thank you,
Yes, sir.
Congressman Babin. Thank you for your support of law enforcement. Thank you for this recognition. And thank you to all in law enforcement who, when the unthinkable tragedies happen, that we come together and we work together and we do the things that's necessary to do to protect our citizens and also to find a person who has killed one of our brothers. Thank you very much.
Amen. Thank you.
Texas Rangers.
One riot, one ranger, right?
Thank you,
Thank
Congressman.
you so very much. Appreciate, very,
Appreciate
deeply
you.
appreciative of you and your department.
Thank you, sir.
Would you like to say a couple of words?
Well, there was definitely more than one ranger here on this endeavor, and I appreciate all their help. But I also want to touch on the support staff, analysts, dispatchers, and everyone else who assisted with this investigation. Thank you very much.
Harris County Sheriff's Department.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Deeply appreciative. Thank you for what you've done in your department.
And supporting law enforcement, sir.
Absolutely. It's my privilege, my privilege.
Thank you. Again, many of us knew that Clint was a very good friend of ours and that we worked closely with Clint. But Congressman, the true heroes and the true people that really deserve this is all the people that are out here that put in a lot of hard work and hours. I know usually the gold badges and the stars are usually the ones that get all the recognition. But ladies and gentlemen, we need to thank all of our investigators, all of the troops, everybody out here that and that we're here to support them. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Houston Police Department.
HPD, thank you. Very
Appreciate it.
appreciative. Yes, sir.
Thank you very
Would
much.
like to
Yes,
say a
sir.
word or two?
Well, first, I want to thank Congressman Babin for acknowledging the work that we've all done in this case. I also want to thank Baytown and all the other agencies for allowing us to be part of this. Some of the most difficult things when we have tragedy is sitting on the sidelines, so we always want to be involved and help in any way we can, so we appreciate that. And let all the agencies here, state, local, and federal, that HPD will always be ready to help in time of tragedy and day to day. We're here to assist our fellow law enforcement agencies. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
When we get done, we'll get a picture with you. I'm gonna move the mic to the podium out of the way. Congressman Babin, thank you very much. Greatly appreciate you coming here today and talking to us. In closing, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say a couple of things. Number one, I want to mention just how proud I am of the men and women in this room that came together to work on this case collectively. Everybody put forth their very best efforts on it. Nobody complained. And I've said this a few times. One of the most amazing things to me in this investigation was we didn't have to pick up the phone and call anybody. Everybody just showed up. That speaks volumes, not just to each of your heart and your work ethic and your commitment to justice, but it speaks volumes to Clint Greenwood. It tells us a little bit about him and what he meant to our community, our law enforcement community. I know many of us in this room have been through training with him and Kirk Bonsall, who's now with the constable's office as well. So it was personal for quite a few of us. It was an emotional investigation. With that being said, I also want to say personally just how proud I am of the men and the women of the Baytown Police Department. Our investigators, our homicide investigators did an outstanding job, but every other investigator in our organization was involved in this case. Everybody put everything they had on their desk, pushed it aside, and came over here and spent countless hours not getting any sleep and living off of caffeine and junk food. And for that, my hat's off to you. I also want to say just how proud I am of Chief Holden. This was a catastrophic event, if there ever was one. And he stepped up to the plate as an incident commander and ran this investigation very professionally and made it pretty well seamless. It was impressive to watch. It was impressive to watch everybody in this room come together and do what they do. And so with all that said, I am so deeply thankful and so deeply proud of each and every one of you. So thank you guys for coming today, and we appreciate it.
Lieutenant Doris,
Yes.
any of the groups that would like to get a picture with the congressman, we'll do that after.
Yes. What we're going to move this out of the way. Yeah, so if there's anybody that would like to get a picture with the congressman, you're more than welcome to hang around. We'll do some photos with the congressman. Give us just a few minutes. My Baytown guys, please hang around because I do want to get a photo with all my Baytown guys.
There's coffee in the kitchen over here, and there's donuts outside.
Okay, guys, here's a lot of you. Stay skinny and act like you like each other. It's just rolling. Okay, everybody look here real quick. 1, 2, 3. More flash. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Look at one camera at a time or you'll look cross-eyed. Are we done with that? Anything that I can ever do. We need to get a picture with you.
Sorry you got there. Other than that.
I'm proud to be with you.